Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech, protected.
Would you risk changing the present to go to the past?
Why would you hang out with a psychopath?
And why does every movie need a sequel?
All this and more on Gory Storytime.
Warning. Gory Storytime is a horror movie review show by a son and his dad who thought that letting his 5-year-old watch scary movies was acceptable. If you are offended by horror or talk about blood and gore by a child, or if you don't want horror movies from the 60s through today spoiled, then there is a remote stuck in your couch cushion next to potato chip crumbs. Use it. And of course, parental discretion is advised.
Why? You didn't use any.
Shut up and start the show.
Welcome to Gory Storytime. I'm your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and his father, Craig. And finally, now in the year 2022, we get around to our second of 4 movies.
That we started at the beginning of
I'm going to just
December.
say it's thriller movies. No, it was actually
at
November.
the end of November.
Yeah. Thrillers that, if they really happened, would actually be horrific. These are not considered horror movies, but the stuff that happens...
I mean, the first one
more
was 1 hour
horrific.
photo, and that movie was horrific.
Right. And this one also.
Yeah.
And it's not because it's true or, like The Strangers.
I mean, the
where
other
it
one
could really
could have
happen.
happened. And
Right. This one, not as much, but...
who knows?
Wow.
You just wouldn't know if it's not you that does it.
Does it? Anyway, let me quickly answer those questions.
Yeah.
No, I would probably mess it up. It keeps you on your toes, and they really don't. Go line those up. You'll see. But anyway, so this week we did The Butterfly Effect.
Yes, we did.
AKA the movie where, well, it's not AKA. The point of I was going to say something that gives away something later, and I don't want to spoil.
Right. I know exactly what you're about to do, and no.
Yeah, I'm not going to. What I will say is the basic premise is Ashton Kutcher plays a guy who has had a pretty rough life, and people around him had a pretty rough life. And he keeps having these blackout periods where he doesn't know what's going on. Years later, he finds that because he kept journals of those times, he could look at those and pinpoint those times and go back in time in his own body to that age and live out those blanked out moments. And he sees a bunch of bad things that have happened in his life, and he tries to correct them by going back and changing the outcome. And like anything where you get to change
The past?
it, basically every time they do that in movies, it screws something up somewhere along the line. Sometimes it's a little better for a little while, like in Back to the Future, but then bad things happen.
Then he, gets the hots for his mom.
Well, I said bad things. No.
I'm telling your mom.
Not my mom.
What, his mom?
I mean, anyway, let's get back to this movie where we're talking about time travel in one's own body.
Yes.
So that's basically the premise. He goes back in time inside of himself, and every time he does, he makes things different.
Bad or good or different.
Sometimes good, but not for everybody. It's never good for everybody.
It's never good for everybody.
Until possibly the end. Possibly, depending on the end, which we'll get into. So, anything else that we should mention about the basic storyline?
No.
It's about this guy, the love of his life, and a couple of his friends, and his love's brother. Those are the main components.
Yeah.
There's some other side characters.
His mom's there.
His mom's there, his dad's there, but his girlfriend's dad's there. But I wouldn't call them. Those are people that help trigger some of the bad
Situations.
things. But yeah, So why don't we watch the trailer and see what that tells you?
Remember when we were kids and I used to have those blackouts? Well, some of those memories have been coming back to me.
There are moments in life we choose to remember.
Do you think that we'll be together forever?
And some memories we can never forget.
All I know is that by reading these journals, I might be able to get Kaylee back.
I'd think twice about what you're doing. You could wake up a lot more messed up than you are now.
I haven't seen results like this before.
But what if you could go back in time?
You are completely relaxed. Think of it like a movie. You can pause, rewind, or slow down.
Could you save the one person that mattered the most?
Honey, are you all right?
You? Incredible. I lost you once, and I'm not losing you again.
Evan, you never lost me. What are you talking about?
You got a nice life.
You stay away from us. What about Kaylee? Is she all right? If I go back to the beginning, I might be able to save her. Just tell me if you see anything weird. Weirder than this. Kaylee, that you were happy once. With me.
Why don't you go back and save me?
How are you doing this?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
You can't change who people are without destroying who they were.
Every time I try to go back in time and help someone, everything just goes wrong.
Oh my God, what did we do?
You can't play God.
The butterfly effect.
All right. That actually wasn't a bad trailer.
Nope.
Didn't give away much. All right. Now, before we get into the meat and beef, as you like to say, or
Yes.
behind the scenes, as a normal person would call it, because
Or whatever.
or meat and potatoes, which is what he
No,
meant to
potatoes
say.
is bad for you.
Well, but that is what you meant to say the first time. Let's get into the reason why we're really here. See, you might think, oh, they love horror movies. Pshaw.
Pshaw.
Pshaw. No. What it is we like making money. And the only way to do that when you're in community television is by selling your soul to large corporations who, will send you bunches of money in Brinks trucks backed up to your house and say, sell our things. And being the hoes that we are,
Right.
these are the things we are prostituting ourselves for this week. But these are all real things that actually exist. Gory Storytime is brought to you by Depressed Flicks, the streaming service guaranteed to ruin any good day. Have you enjoyed 10 or more days of happiness? Are you just about sick of it? Our group of experts have combed through the history of films to find the most upsetting titles ever released. With hits like A Serbian Film, 8mm, and Precious, we guarantee that you'll be depressed for days. So, if you're emotionally masochistic, then Depressed Flicks is for you.
Dang. And by, wait, they can act? The new docuseries that breaks down one actor or actress per episode that is known for cheesy or stilted acting. You know those actors that seem to play the same character every movie, no matter the genre? This series shows you the one or two examples where they get out of their own way and do a stellar job. The first season includes Jim Carrey, Ashton Kutcher, Kristen Stewart, Adam Sandler, and more. This series will truly have you asking, hey, they can act?
All right. Now that we've done the bidding of our financial overlords,
Exactly.
let's get into the. Is there
Meat
anything
and
before the behind the scenes? Is there anything
Cool.
else you want to say about this movie?
Go find a way to watch it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what
there
I
are
have to say.
sequels. Don't necessarily.
I
Never
don't know
watched
if
it.
they're
I'm
good or not. They're unrelated, and I don't care.
I've heard that 3 is better than 2. That doesn't mean that it's good. I don't know. I've seen 0.
Right.
I've
no,
seen the
I've
first
seen one.
Yeah, I've seen 0 sequels.
Right.
You going first?
Yes. All of the prison scenes were filmed in a real prison, Washington State, with real prisoners.
It was one of the most widely read unproduced scripts in the industry. It wasn't until Ashton Kutcher signed on as executive producer that the movie was greenlit.
Wow. During one of Evan's flashback scenes, he can be heard reading part of Ray Bradbury's short story, A Sound of Thunder. In this story, a group of people travel millions of years into the past to hunt dinosaurs. One of them accidentally steps on and kills a butterfly, which dramatically alters the future.
In early versions of the script, the character of Evan was originally Chris Treborn. When the T was moved over, it becomes Christ Reborn. This was changed to Evan Treborn to play on Event Reborn.
Ashton Kutcher did extensive research on psychology, mental disorders, and chaos theory to prepare for this film.
The lights flicker in the background of the psychiatrist's office when Evan is being hypnotized after they blew up the mailbox. This was not a planned special effect. It was an actual short in the wiring on set. The director thought it fit well with the scene and used the take in the final cut of the movie. That's kind of cool.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Eldon Henson shot all of the later normal scenes with his character first because he had to gain about 20 pounds in a month for the later timelines, in which his character is crazy. He was to look bigger as Crazy Lenny and thinner as normal Lenny. To the filmmaker's amazement, he accomplished this.
They only had 3 of the post boxes to blow up and only got it right on the 3rd try. Imagine if
Lucky.
it didn't. Yes.
Lucky.
Very important scene to that movie if it didn't work.
The title is a reference to a concept in chaos theory where small events may lead unpredictably to large events. This is explained in an opening quotation which explains that a butterfly flapping its wings may result in a typhoon. It may also be seen secondarily as a reference to the short story A Sound of Thunder by Ray Bradbury.
I mean, the butterfly effect was known anyway.
Yeah.
But let's see. Logan Lerman, Evan at age 7, wore dark contact lenses to match Ashton Kutcher's eyes.
Wow. When Evan wakes up in the sorority house, there's a Bradbury University pennant on the wall. Another reference to Ray Bradbury.
The wig that Eric Stoltz wears in the film was made of Stoltz's real hair. That's weird, to have your hair cut and then wear it.
That is really strange.
It is.
The picture over Evan's bed in his dorm room is Sleep by Salvador Dali.
Josh Hartnett, Sean William Scott, and Joshua Jackson were each offered the role of Evan.
Evan's cigarette burn scar looks very much like an outline of the Mandelbrot set, often a symbol of chaos theory at the heart of the butterfly effect.
The teenage versions of Evan, Kaylee, and Tommy go to see Seven in 1995 at a movie theater. That's also showing Dumb and Dumber from 1994. Both of those movies, as well as this one, were released by New Line Cinema. Eldon Henson, Lenny, and William Lee Scott, Tommy, both appeared in Dumb and Dumberer when Harry Met Lloyd, which, by the way, is an awful movie. And speaking of sequels that didn't need to happen.
The main character, Evan, wrote a total of approximately 4,745 entries from the ages of 6 to 19. Therefore, 4,745 entries divided by 192 pages, front and back, in a standard notebook would take up around 24 notebooks in this movie.
Evan's diaries have the same cover and layout as Diaries of John Doe in Seven, also released by New Line Cinema. They are standard composition notebooks that are used by school children across the country every day. It also appears in my music video that's on my YouTube channel. If you look for Diary of a Madman on YouTube, you can find that, and I basically use...
It's just a comp book.
Yeah.
Allie Larder was offered the role of Kaylee, but dropped out.
In the Hilltop Cafe, Kaylee, Amy Smart, her workplace was also used in Bates Motel from 2013, episode 2.
For season
2.
Yeah, season 2.
Bates Motel, Shadow of Doubt. 2014, Dylan and Bradley wait there for the bus.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, now we get into some of the parts where it's our opinion. And if you don't like them, well watch the movie yourself. But first of all, what? Let's give the Rotten Tomatoes score first. Now, for those who don't know, because you haven't watched this show before or don't understand the way they do things at Rotten Tomatoes, because you saw an article today. Did Rotten Tomatoes get this wrong? Rotten Tomatoes can't get things wrong. Based on what they do is they just take all
everybody's opinion.
Yeah, they take all the critics that they consider accredited critics, and if it's a positive review, they put it in the positive. If it's a negative review, they put it in the negative. It doesn't matter how positive or negative. If it's more positive or more negative, that's how they mark it. And then it's the percent of positive reviews out of 100%. They can't get it wrong. It's not them making up the number.
No.
It's the consensus across the board.
Right.
And he's going to tell you what the critics have it at. But I'll start with, they also have a section where you can go and pick what, positive or negative on their site, and they'll come up with an answer to the percentage of regular people that aren't film snobs, basically, and what they think. And I like to put us more on that, even though this is a film critic show, kind of.
But we don't align with the critics
a lot of the time. But 81% of the regular people said
gave
this
it
is
a positive review.
That's a very good number.
And 34% of the critics said that this was an okay movie, and it's like
making it rotten in general. And I totally don't get that, because this isn't my favorite or least favorite thing, but I have to say I am not a fan of Ashton Kutcher in most things. I didn't like him in that 70s show. I didn't think he was funny. I didn't like Dude, Where's My Car?
He was okay as a replacement for Charlie.
He was better in that than most things. I really didn't like his parts of Punk'd, where it's like other people wrote interesting bits, did them, and then he came out at the end and was like, haha, I got you. It's like, no, you sat behind a camera while other people that were more intelligent and funnier than you came up with a concept, pulled it off, and then you're like, credit. No. So when this happened, I was like, I'll watch it. I heard it's good, and it was. And I'm like, oh, he can act?
Wait, he can act?
I was actually very surprised. And that happens every once in a while. Like, I like movies with some people that are in comedy, and then you see him, like Sandler just kind of plays the same dumb person over and over again, and then he does some
Bulletproof.
Well, yeah, but that was still him doing comedy. I'm thinking like more recently that Jules movie. Whatever.
Andy Wexler? Not Andy Wexler.
No, it's got Jules in it, which is why I brought up Jules, and I can't think of the damn name.
Something Gems. Uncut Gems?
Uncut Gems, not Jules. Thank you. I'm an idiot, but I haven't actually seen it, but I've heard like he's a really good actor, and it was Oscar-worthy, is what a lot of people said. So that was my take on this. I was like, oh, wait. When he's not trying to be funny, because I don't think he's good at that,
he can act the hell out of it.
And I didn't hate the character. He didn't act like everything else he's been in.
Which is good.
Which I think helped him on not be so bad on 2.5 Men, because he lasted like 3 or 4 years on that, I think, after Charlie left.
Yeah.
I think at least 3. But anyway, back to this.
Yeah.
So that's not my favorite or least favorite. It's just I found it amazing that someone who I didn't think of as a decent actor and never found funny could do a movie that I was like, this is one of my favorite movies. I love this movie. It is so good. It's messed up, but I'm messed up, so that might help. Anyway, what is your least favorite scene? Let's go least to best, because I know we both like it, and it's a little harder to come up with least.
I think we might have both the same.
We might.
So my least favorite scene is originally a blacked out memory when he's hanging out with Kaylee. It's Kaylee, I think, in her dad's basement, and he's got a new camera, and he wants to basically make them have sex on camera. He
wasn't hanging out there.
He was being watched.
He brought them down there specifically for that purpose.
Okay, but he was there originally because he was dropped off to be watched and hang out with Kaylee.
Right, and be babysat.
Right. And basically her pedophile dad tries to get them to
do stuff
on camera.
Yeah. It does get him to, and the brother sees it, and it kind of sends him spiraling down a bad place,
and Evan doesn't remember it because it's one of those.
It was traumatic, and
he blacked it out.
A lot of his trauma was what got blacked out.
And yeah, that's
I would say
absolutely my least favorite.
Yeah, it's important to the plot, but just the topic is
The
so.
concept of pedophilia is just disgusting to me.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Ugh.
I agree 100%. But
Your least favorite?
my least favorite, I'm gonna just to try to have something a little different, maybe, because that topic I don't like. I have no sympathy for minor attracted persons, or as I like to call them,
Deserves to be shot.
yeah, I mean pedophiles. That's what they are. I don't care. But anyway, let's not keep talking about that topic because I friggin' hate it. I'll just say yes, I agree with you. That's my least favorite thing because I can't think of anything that bothers me more.
More in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? The dog. What happened to the dog?
Oh.
What happened to the dog?
Yeah, what happened
It's
to the
not
dog is
equivalent,
bad, but
it should be mentioned. Like
Yeah.
if you are triggered by bad things happening to animals, this is
if
not
you're
the
triggered
movie
by
for you.
bad things happening,
If you're triggered by bad things happening to animals or children, this is not the movie for you.
not even a little bit. So my favorite scene is after he's realized that he can go back to those blackout memories, he goes back to that
Exact moment.
That exact moment, that basement, and he
Lays right in.
He has what I believe is probably one of the best movie quotes of all time.
And he's not going to say it because it has some language, but just go back and check it out.
And
definitely.
He
uses it multiple
straightens him
times.
out.
Anytime he sees that guy in the movie, he calls him this thing.
And it's just amazing. And he straightens it out, and he just lets him have it, and it's amazing.
And gets him to promise never to hurt his child that way again.
Exactly.
I'm not going to say what else. He also does something that screws up the brother even more.
Right.
So it gets...
Oh.
So
your favorite?
Yeah, my favorite scene, just to get away from that scene in any form, honestly, my favorite scene is the alternate ending. This is not... Now, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen this movie, please don't listen to this because you shouldn't have this ruined for you. You should watch it, and then you should watch the alternate ending.
Oh, I do believe you should definitely watch both.
Yeah. But I will say the alternate ending where he goes back into so far that he's in the womb and he chokes out his own life because he realizes if he wasn't in their lives, all the people that were screwed up along the way, other things could happen and they could have happy lives. So he took himself out in the womb just so that he could save. He stopped being selfish. It was the first completely unselfish thing he'd done. Because there's other things where if he wasn't selfish,
there was one
could
of
have
the
been better.
futures that he had made that would have been perfect for everyone but him.
And he wasn't willing
and
to
even
let
in that
which I
one,
get.
everyone would have been handing everything to him. He would have had everything.
But still, it would have been a rough
Sure.
But anyway.
But everyone else was
But the
happy.
point is, he does it and it undoes every bad thing that happens because the parents getting divorced of the girl and her brother, they would have went to live with the mom. The reason they stayed with the dad was because she loved Evan even as a child and wanted to be around him, and it would have prevented that from happening.
Exactly.
So she went with her mom, never got molested. Like,
just go find a way to watch this movie is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Now, hopefully people didn't listen that plan on watching the movie, but that's the alternate ending. I won't give away the real ending, but that's probably my favorite thing.
Yeah.
I will
It's
say
not bad.
I like the ending of like what it means that they used officially, but for the dark, twisted take on life.
Yeah.
That's
All
why
right.
I like.
So
yeah.
on a
Let's do
scale of 1 to 10.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm going 9.
10.
I'm going 9, but still, it's right up there.
It's 10 out of 10 for me. There's nothing in this movie that I would say needs to be changed.
Even his least favorite scene.
Even my least favorite stuff.
Because
it leads
his
to my favorite stuff.
Right, exactly, and that wouldn't happen without it.
So yeah.
But I say
so 9, 10.
But highly recommended. If you haven't seen it, watch it. I don't know thing one about the sequels, so.
But now we're at that point of the show where I point to that side and there's a bunch of stuff. Okay, so you can watch this show on Fact TV channel 1076 on Thursdays at 8:30 p.m. and Fridays at 7 p.m.
You can like us on Facebook, and by like us, I mean Gory Storytime and Fact TV. if you can watch things live if you like those things. And, if you did, you might have heard me slip and cuss during a bad take of this episode.
No. And, you can go to fact8.com, watch a bunch of the back episodes of this and a bunch of the other shows that they have, which is an astounding amount.
And then you can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Craig Jakes, all one word, all lowercase. He's at
Jiggly Firm Brain. I only tweet things that he says that I find are amusing to take either in or out of context to make him sound as bad as possible.
Or as funny as possible. Sometimes it's not to make me look bad, but it's fine.
Sometimes.
And also check out Fact TV and look for Juggalo Jakes on YouTube. Both channels, subscribe to them. I've got video clips, like music videos. I've got sketches. We've got our 200th episode. They have a bunch of episodes that I don't have on their YouTube, so subscribe to that too. And that's about it, right? So
I have been your host, Jason.
I'm his co-host and father, Craig.
And sweet dreams.